it's the Beginner Crafter. Welcome to another WIPTube, where I'm going to sum up what I did in May. And May was a pretty good month. I did quite a lot. Thankfully, my mom's health is getting better. She doesn't need to go to doctors as often. She's quite independent right now, so I was able to work quite a lot. And if you hear weird sounds, that's my puppy, who feels quite hot and is just trying to regulate his temperature, but we're fine. And yes, the puppy is growing, so I also don't have to go out with him so much. He does like to play a lot, but that doesn't distract me as much. So May was pretty good. I think I'll start with a new purchase just because it's really big and I want to get it out of the way. And this is a stand for cross stitching. And like I said, it is big. That's why it's difficult for me to show it to you in its full glory. It's a lap stand or a table stand, actually. I haven't used it yet. I just assembled it yesterday evening. I'm not entirely sure if I did it correctly. There might be some mistakes, so I don't yet know how to use that. But it does seem like it can be moved a bit. So we'll see how that works. It is much bigger than I expected it to be. So for the table in my office where I usually sit and cross stitch, it's actually not really comfortable. It is too big because the table is quite high. But maybe I will use it when I am in the living room and just stand it on the sofa. And it might be easier that way. We'll see. But it looks like it's going to be able to fit most of my projects because most of my projects are quite big. So it should work really, really well. The stand is produced by a company called Arabesca, and from what I could tell, it's a company from Ukraine, which I had no idea before. That's why it took, I think, about a week or two to get to me, even though I ordered it from a Polish shop. I guess they needed some time to either produce it by order or import it because it can be difficult at times. So that was the purchase. So I'm really glad. I hope I'm going to use it pretty well. Okay, then a finish. I finished the Olival top. And I'm super happy about it because it means it took me less than 2 months to finish a garment, a knitted garment, and a garment that is not just like a stockinette stitch or garter stitch, but actually has some cables, shaping and things like that. It's not positioned perfectly at the moment. I just can't really drape it very well. That's a little bit better, but the back is actually a bit longer than the front, but yeah. So I'm really, really stoked about it that I managed to finish it. It does have mistakes because, for example, in this diamond, there were supposed to be cables much more frequently, and I realized that like closer to the end of the diamond. So I really didn't feel like ripping everything because at that stage I was still very unsure if I would be able to finish it on time, and also I don't feel confident enough to do that. Also, when increasing, I forgot in a few places, so I kind of had to increase a bit more intensely and not in the correct places. So I can see this increase, for example, that I had forgotten about. It's here because I can see a larger stitch before that. So that's also something for me to learn, how to also increase in a bit more invisible way, that I can't see the holes so much. And grafting. I really don't really do the concept well of joining like hems together, for example. It doesn't really want to focus like here. See, this is not really straight as it's supposed to be, although it is an improvement from this. This was my first grafting and it just was horrible. Yeah, it's like a big knot here. Thankfully it's under your arms, so you don't really see it. And you don't really feel it either, to be honest. So that's good. The fit is really good. At first I was afraid that the armholes will be too shallow, that I will feel this part constantly under my arms, but after blocking, everything is positioned frequently, so it's a really great pattern. I really like what happened here. Like the whole design is really nice, and I think I'll make more again. Possibly with one more diamond. I did make the ribbing a little bit longer than intended by the designer, although it was an option given to us by the designer, so it's not really a problem. But I think I would actually like to make it this longer, like the whole diamond worth longer. Because I prefer tunics and longer shirts in general. So I think the next one, I will make it just one repeat of the diamond longer to suit my needs. So this is definitely something I would like to repeat, because tops, I usually like wearing tops. This one is really nice to wear. The silk yarn, I think it's mixed, but it has silk. It's really nice in touch, even though it is still a bit coarse, but it's like a normal type of coarse. It's just not very smooth, but it's a knitted garment. It's not like fabric made in a factory. So I really want to make this one again in the future in a different color, and like I said, longer. Possibly a bit smaller because I am on a diet. I am losing weight, so it is slightly too big at the moment, but it's just slightly, and I actually quite like loose garments, so it's totally fine. But maybe in a while I'll be able to make a size smaller but longer, so it will take me about the same amount of time, because not as many stitches here but more stitches this way. I think the pattern will be available in June, so head over to My Cup of Yarn. This is her YouTube channel. And I think on Ravelry it's Clara Pushin, and then you can buy the pattern because it's really great. I would say it's maybe more for intermediate knitters. I consider myself a beginner, maybe advanced beginners. Advanced because I have some experience with cables, because my first project had cables. But there were quite a lot of techniques that I had to learn for the first time. So if somebody is quite adventurous also, it is fine. It just sometimes you need to look for tutorials how to make a particular stitch or particular technique. But other than that, it should be fine. And anybody who's at least intermediate should do really, really well. At the beginning, it's just bear in mind that at the beginning there might be quite a lot of cables or lifelines put into the garment and just hanging, because there are many stitches on hold. So that's that. And yeah, it was a really good pattern to learn. So I'm really happy, and yeah, hoping for something also to knit like this in the future. After I finished the Olival top, I started a gauge swatch for Kutowa Kika's wishbone sweater, and I did it for two reasons. One, I need a new project to knit, and her sweater was, I had already bought it and I was planning to make it anyway. I had all the yarn that I needed, but also she's looking for testers from time to time, and her patterns are written in a specific way. So I decided it would be best, if I want to be a tester, it's best to sort of learn how she writes her patterns, so that it can go really, really quickly and I can make it in time that she needs, because I think she has pretty tight deadlines. So it would be best if I know how to deal at least with the pattern, and then working with the yarns. And so far it's going really good. I made the first gauge swatch and I'm basically spot on. I haven't really blocked it yet, so I can't say exactly, but I feel like with blocking I would be spot on. Right now I can't make another gauge swatch because we need to make two. One with 5mm needles and the other one with 3mm needles, I think. I can't make it because they are supposed to be in the round, so I need circular needles. But I only have those 5mm ones that are short enough for me not to have to do however many repeats. When I only need 24 stitches for the gauge swatch. I mean, obviously you have to make much more than 24 stitches to be able to measure it correctly, but all other cables that I have are like 60 centimeters or 100 centimeters. And these ones are like, I don't know, 30 maybe. So much fewer stitches necessary to make it. So I think I'll have to buy needles that are 3 centimeters, but short like these ones, because they would be perfect for gauge swatches in the round. Because I really don't like making a lot of repeats when I don't have to be honest. But I like the pattern, this one, because I need to make now with, I think, a ribbing pattern, just so this one should go quicker. But this pattern that is here, I really like it. It's super interesting. It's like a cable, but a different kind of cable, and I really like the design here. So I hope I'll be able to make it. I'm a little scared about the yarns. I mean, I don't think I'm using the exact same yarns that she recommended, but she likes mixing yarns, and one of them is usually like a mohair or alpaca. And I'm quite scared of the mohair because those yarns can feel a bit scratchy, and I wonder what it will feel like. Right now it's kind of scratchy, but we'll see how it behaves with the other type of yarn. Okay, so that's it for knitting. Now maybe cross stitching, because I did cross stitch quite a lot, thankfully. Maybe let's start with the project that I'm making for my friend. I'm close to finishing. Really, really close, because I need to finish this butterfly here. I mean, there are still some white areas here. There is a spot here that I need to finish, and a very light yellow that I need to fill in here in this area and in that area, and then their names and date of the wedding. And this will be it. Because I hope to do that in the first week or two of June, and I want to send it to them as soon as possible. I think when I'll be doing the summary of June, I won't be talking about it like live at the same time as with others, but I will create a short video about what I did with this, because it's not just stitching that I need to do, but also putting it on a hanger, like a decorative hanger, and doing something to the stitches so that the fabric doesn't rip. And also I'm thinking of like giving it another layer of the canvas so that you can't really see the back. It's not the worst back that I've seen, but it's also not the prettiest one. So I think I would prefer to have it covered, and I think that would also make the fabric a little bit more sturdy and more difficult to be damaged. But I'm really happy that most of it is done. It was quite difficult to stitch, mostly because there's a lot of counting involved, and it's not really easy to make a grid in this type of pattern where there are a lot of white areas and it's not full coverage. But it was still very fun to make. I really like it, this design. I had to make the range of my stitches, of my colors bigger, so I have a lot more a lot more colors to stitch with for the future. So that's an added bonus for that. Okay, then my regular projects. First, Mini Marvellous Garden, the main piece for the year. And finally I got progress that I really like. Really like, because I stitched 3,210 stitches, which is almost as much as I stitched in the whole first quarter of the year, because in the first quarter I stitched 3,786 stitches. So I'm 500 stitches and a bit less in just May compared to the whole Q1. So it's a huge improvement. I also am behind, or I left 75% behind, which means I'm now cleaning up, which you maybe don't see much, but here some of the yarns are already gone and the rest are just put in a bit lower because then it's a bit more difficult to figure things out. I will also then stitch some of the confetti stitches because those yarns are finishing. I mean, I need like 10, 12, 23 stitches of a given color, and it's kind of all over the place. So it was a bit more difficult to stitch when I was doing a specific part. Like I was now focusing here, and I guess you can see that there was quite a big progress in here. No, I didn't finish a page, but I'm very, very close to finishing both this page and that page. And I was actually considering finishing this page because there's like one stitch, I think, left. And this color is used quite a lot around here. But my OCD told me, no, we first finish page 2. And only then we can finish page 3. So I have those 2 pages to finish still, but I should finish it quite fast and be done. And also, I'm over 40,000. I'm actually almost 41,000 stitches in. And I think this one has 54,000 stitches. Something like that. So that's several thousand stitches, but if I manage to stitch about 3,000 stitches every month, I should be done in, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, so before the year ends, and that would be great. So I'm really happy with how I worked on it this month. And I did finish a few threads, a few colors are now finished, and I will finish much more in June, just because of how many colors are now very, very close to 0 stitches left, and it will just look better and better all the time. So I'm really happy with the progress here. Then Miranda, which also got quite a lot of stitches because 1,110, so yay. And in Miranda I worked on this area here because I was trying to finish the page. I gave up, however, and moved here, which I mostly finished like the previous rose page, although you can still see the white area here. That's also the previous rose page. But I also did move on a bit to this page. I finished the page here. I just can't remember which one. And I'm close to finishing another one because there are also quite a few stitches left. So also nice progress, maybe not as big as on Mini Marvellous Garden, but again, Mini Marvellous Garden is my focus piece for the year. But Miranda also got quite a lot of progress, and I know what I wanted to show you. I just need to find it again. Oh, this stitch here that is not stitched yet, but this one in the center, like this white stitch kind of surrounded by stitches. This is the center stitch of the whole piece. And I know, it doesn't look like it in my canvas because this stitch is here. And it doesn't look like the center. But I will have to add fabric because I had a mistake at the beginning. Chose a very small fabric because I thought I was going to stitch Mini Marvellous Garden, but I started stitching Miranda. Oops. I'll have to deal with it in the future, but I am near the center. So it kind of looks like I have a quarter done, fully done, but in stitches I'm at 37% of the whole picture. So that's also quite nice. There's quite a lot of sand, as you can see at the moment, so the beach is now starting to appear. You can actually see that. So yeah, I'm hoping for progress. Like, at the moment, I'm still a bit tired of Miranda and I'm not super happy stitching it, which I guess is still like a rebound kind of. I don't want to do it after the whole year of it being my focus piece. But slowly we'll get there. Progress is what I need. And it's happening. It's happening, and that's the most important. Also, it's at the moment not the most comfortable to work with because it's on the edge here. When I'm stitching this part, it's also kind of on the edge here. So yes, it's not the most ideal place to stitch, but I'm stitching, and that's important, and that's what I like. And also, I did manage to stitch a little bit, not too much, on Envy, which I'm also really glad because it means progress on another project. And like I said, it's not big. It's 195 stitches, which on this piece it's really hard to see, but I stitched there. I stitched some stitches around here and I stitched somewhere there. I guess when you see two versions, like the last one I stitched on it and this one, you can see the difference a bit more clearly. But this is what I remember where I was stitching, more or less. So there is quite some progress, but you know, not a lot. However, again, I stitched more. I think with all, well, not all, but with Miranda and Avarice, I stitched more this month than in the whole Q1. So it's progress, but it's taking a bit more time to get to Avarice right now than I thought there would be, because I'm at 10.68% and the plan for the year is to reach 15%, which seems difficult at the moment, but we'll see how that works. Maybe it'll happen. I mean, when I finish, I hope, Mini Marvellous Garden, Avarice will become the focus piece for the rest of the year. So then I'll hope I'll catch up, and also because I won't have Mini Marvellous Garden, even as just a project, I will have more time to stitch on all the other projects because there'll be one less project to stitch, unless I find something else, because that's also possible. But yes, Avarice, some progress, maybe a bit difficult to see, but there's progress. That's what we want. And I started something new. Not cross-stitching, but crocheting, because I miss it. So I started a rug, and it's called a Lotus Rug. It's going to look like this, and it's from Scheepjes Bookazine, the color issue. I don't remember which number it is. Oh, number 10. Yeah. So it's going to look like this. I'm not using the same yarn, I'm not using the same color even, but I still like the design. It's going to be huge. I am, I think, about a third in and it's going to be huge, but that's quite nice. I quite like it. And also I did make something of a stitch marker, because I took a row counter that I bought, I think from Amazon, and I added beads and the clasp, and so I have like a stitch marker with a row with a row counter together. I also wanted to make those row counters or stitch markers with beads that show what size of the hook or needles actually I'm using. And the problem is that what I see on the internet when it comes to beads with numbers is that they have really big holes, and I have very, very thin like centers, those metal rods that you put the beads onto. So I think that it would just, the bead would just move a lot, and I would have to constantly like try to put it in place to see what number it is. So I guess I have to look longer for the beads I would like to have, or I would have to try to find different pieces to put inside those stitch markers / row counters. But again, it's progress. I did make a stitch marker. I started a new project, which is, let's be honest, this is my like least important project at the moment. I think I'll be mostly stitching it when I go to visit my parents, because all I need is the project, the ball of yarn and the pattern book and a hook, and that's it. With cross stitching it's a bit more difficult because I need to take a lot of bobbins with me, and the Q-snap and the needles and scissors, like a lot of things, and this one is the most portable. Knitting is also good for traveling, however I'm always afraid that my needle stoppers will detach from the needles and cause all kinds of trouble. So I think this is the project, sort of the to-go project, which I don't really need very fast. I want to go back to Bloom Between the Lines, but I lost the pattern for it. And it's not really like terrible that I lost the pattern, because I can always print a new version of it. The problematic thing is that I was counting how many repeats I've already done, and I don't remember now. I think it's about 10 or 11. I guess I can also have a look and just count myself how many patterns there are in the scarf that I already have, but it's overwhelming at the moment, so I don't want to do it. So yeah, this is it. This is what I was working on in May, and I'm really, really proud of myself for working on so many things. I feel like I'm back to the groove, to everything, and like hopefully life will be cooperating with me and will allow me for the next 3 months, when I still have holidays or like a leave, that I still will be able to work as much and make as much progress, because that would be great. Because after that I go back to work, so I'll have much less time, and that's why I want to make so much progress in the next 3 months, so that later on I'm still safe with reaching my goals for the year, even though I will have much less time. So I hope June, July, and August will cooperate, and I'll have a lot of things done. Like I said, the Lotus Rug is the least sort of important. I don't have any deadline for it. But, well, the only deadlines I have is actually cross-stitching, but I also need to look at the projects from previous years that I also was planning to finish this year, and so far it's not happening. So far I can't really get to those projects and finish them, even though there is quite a lot of them to start doing, or start finishing, but not really. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up button, leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time. Bye!